Hello community, this is Cadillac1, and today I'm going to show you how to make some basic AI using C++ and a little bit of blueprints for the sake of a few things that need to be executed, but I'll show you in a bit. What we're doing right now, this template is from the tutorial charge projectile, if you remember that from the last video I did. If not, check out my channel, look up charge projectile tutorial, and we'll show you there how I'll do everything in a bit. But first, let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to do a few things first. Number one, we're going to create a few new codes to the project. We're going to have a character one. We're going to name it tutorial underscore bot. We're going to create a bot. Let's go ahead and do this. It might take a little bit. Nope, not at all. Alright, we're going to hit no. We're also going to create one more thing here as well. We're going to add another code. We're going to show classes. We're going to get AI controller. I'm going to hit next. We're going to go ahead and call it tutorial underscore, let's call it controller. There we go. Create class. This shouldn't take too long. Hit no. And then we'll go back to our code. And it should ask to reload. Go ahead and reload all and just stop debugging. And it's going to show all this stuff too. A few new codes, a tutorial bot and tutorial controller shows up. That's very good. Alright, so let's go ahead. We're going to add a few properties to this real quick to the tutorial AI in particular, the controller. So first of all, what we're going to need to do, we're going to make a few properties. We're going to actually get a Blackboard component and a behavior tree component. So we're going to type a new property, transient, and it's going to be a T sub-object pointer, and it's going to be class U Blackboard component, and it's going to be, we're going to call it Blackboard comp. And then I'm going to make another U property. Just going to do this here real quick. It's kind of the same thing. It's going to be another transient U property. And we're going to call it to be a behavior tree component. And we're going to call it behavior comp. There we go. Those few things. And we're also going to need to override a few functions, so we're going to get virtual void, we're going to get possess class. These are the parameters that are built into it. You get a pawn pointer of in pawn, and semicolon. We get another, let's see, we're going to make another function here. We're going to call it void set enemy. I'm going to give it parameters for a pawn parameter. I'm going to call it class a pawn pointer in pawn. There we go. We're going to get a U function, which we're going to actually call from blueprint. Let's see here quick. Blueprint callable. And then we're going to have a category be behavior, and it's going to be a void search for enemy, and no parameters inside that. There we go. We're going to make a few protected functions here real quick. Not functions, protected variables. We're going to have a uint8. Think of this as like a different kind of int that kind of saves a little bit of memory, I would say. I'm going to make enemy key ID because it requires a uint8. Same with this parameter here, uint8 enemy location ID. Basically, with enemy key ID, we're going to make it be, because we're going to actually get the key ID, we're going to get the actual name of what we're going to get the key ID to be. Same thing with enemy location ID. We're going to actually, this is actually going to be a vector, and this is going to be actually an object. So we'll go to our controller.cpp, and we're going to do a few things here in our constructor. We're going to say Blackboard comp equals, of course, the PCIP dot create default sub object, and it's got to be a U Blackboard component. If I go type, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be the name of Blackboard comp. And we're going to do the same thing with the behavior tree comp. Behavior comp equals PCIP dot create default sub object, and as a U behavior, regular type behavior tree component, and else also is this, and text behavior comp. This basically makes it in the constructor, so we don't have to worry about overdoing it. So we're going to do a few things. We're going to say void a tutorial underscore controller possess class a pawn and be in pawn. Okay. I'm going to have to get all these functions out here real quick so we can actually start the editor while we do this. Need search for enemy. There we go. I'm trying to think what else we have in our header. Yes, we got to do set enemy as well. So we're going to do void a tutorial controller set enemy class a pawn in pawn. So we should be able to start up the editor now since we have all those taken care of, as I think we do. So we'll double check. So search for enemy, set enemy, possess. Yes, we do. All right. So now we can hit play, and we'll be able to start up the editor. Here we go. All right. So, I'm trying to think what else we could do. What we should do, just in case, we'll go ahead and go back to our tutorial charge here quick. Go to, where are we at? There's the bot. I need you and I need you. So we are going to set the AI controller class right off the bat. So AI controller class equals a tutorial underscore controller : static class. And there we go. We're going to do one more thing in here. We're going to get the one little property we're going to add to it. U property edit anywhere category equals behavior. And this will come in handy here in a sec. I will just kind of lay everything out so you understand what I'm trying to do. Behavior tree be a pointer of bot behavior, because that's going to be really important to actually get some things so we can get the Blackboard components taken care of. Say, I got to include hashtag include. I'm going to tutorial underscore controller .h, and that should take care of that problem. Let's see, make sure we got to do the same thing here because we're going to be calling it. Do include tutorial underscore bot.h, because we're going to be doing a few things with this as well. So more than likely we're going to have to restart the editor, but we'll find out here quick. Let's see, compile. And yes, just as I figured. Oh, we're missing a line 16 on the H file. Let's say .h16. No, it shouldn't be any. Oh, I put a dot. I don't know why. Huh. Need to put a comma. Alright, let's go back to the editor. Yes, I know. Let's see if this will take care of it. Alright, this is probably telling me it probably needs to restart the editor. Yep. Alright, so we gotta close out the editor. And then we gotta restart it. So we should have everything off. Oops. Let's see. Tutorial bot, controller. Controller.cbp just kind of went away. Alright, here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and start it up. And let's begin programming. Whoa. And here we go. Yes, so first off, what we're going to do first is we're going to make a new blueprint real quick. We're going to make a blueprint deriving from the tutorial bot. I'm going to select it. We're going to call it enemy underscore bot. Sure, we'll call it enemy bot. We're going to do a few things inside it. We're going to give it a mesh. I should have, besides that, well, we could give him that if he wanted to. Well, let's give him this. Just be a simple AI. You know, it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and pull him down. Make him face the right way. There we go. Okay, no big deal. So we're going to do one little thing in here quick. We're going to go to AI. AI controller class already. Tutorial controller. Good deal. It already automatically sets it. So, save that. Now we're going to do a few more things. We're going to do actually just double check one thing. This is one thing you got to do for sure if you're going to use behavior trees. So we're going to go to you're going to go ahead to edit. We're going to head to editor preferences and click on experimental. And if these are not checked, we won't be able to actually use it. So I was going to click on edit behavior tree and we'll hit set as default and it should let us do everything we want. So now we could go to new, and go to miscellaneous, but we're going to create a data asset first. We're going to derive it from Blackboard data. And there we are. So we're going to rename it. We'll call it enemy BB for Blackboard. We're going to add a few variables in it. We're going to say add. So we're going to make it be 1B enemy. And we're going to derive it from a object. And when you hit object, this little arrow appears. And the base class is going to be tutorial charge character. We're going to have another one. Have it be, call it destination. We're going to have this one be a vector. Alright, so we got that all set up. Reason being we're doing this because then we can actually, when we actually get the enemy, we're actually calling the actual character that's in the scene itself. So let's go ahead and do one last thing. Let's go ahead and make a behavior tree. We're going to call it enemy brain. Because when you look at it, it's like a bunch of neurons kind of working together if we actually look at it that way. So automatically sets it to enemy Blackboard. But we can't really do much yet because when you go down here, we're going to make a selector. But the thing is, we want to make a service in particular, so we actually make a parameter that we know is doing something first before we go into the next sequence. Because what we want to do is have a selector go into here, and we're going to have a task to move to. We want it to move to enemy, but it doesn't know what enemy is until we check it, because that's what we had to do in C++ first. But we're going to save this out just for the template to use. So let's go ahead and go back to our code. Let's go take a look at the .h. Okay, we've got everything else set up. So let's go ahead and begin with possess. Of course, you always have to override possess so we get everything working. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to type this. We're going to have to say super : possess, and then the parameter side, which is in pawn. And then we're going to say a tutorial underscore bot. We're going to make it be a pointer of bot, which will equal, we're actually going to cast it. Cast basically, lets you get a variable from the class itself safely. That's what the cast variable kind of does. We're going to cast it from, of course, a tutorial underscore bot, and we're going to have it derived from inpawn. Assign it to inpawn. There we go. So now we're going to say if bot and bot, then we're going to get that pointer. Remember that bot behavior variable? Meaning we're actually going to check if it has its behavior. If it knows it's there, we're going to tell it this: Blackboard comp point to initialize Blackboard. And we're going to, which Blackboard we're going to initialize? Of course, bot. And we're going to get the bot behavior, and we're going to get the Blackboard asset. It's easy as that. So basically what's going on here, we're getting the Blackboard component. We're going to initialize the Blackboard, but which Blackboard are we initializing? Which is bot, which is the tutorial bot. We're grabbing its bot behavior, which we got in this header file, and we're actually going to have it be a Blackboard asset. So now we're going to do a couple more things when we possess it. Remember the enemy key ID? Yes. So we're going to have it be equal to Blackboard comp, and we're going to have it point to get key ID, and it requires a string to be, we're going to have it be enemy. Remember when we typed enemy in here for the Blackboard portion, enemy is the name, and of course we're going to make another one be destination. So we're going to type those two things in our code. So of course enemy, they're going to say enemy location ID equals Blackboard comp. And of course, you guessed it, get key ID. And that name is called destination. And then we're going to have to start the actual behavior tree. So we're going to have to say behavior comp point start tree. And we're going to need the bot behavior. As you remember, bot behavior is also what? A behavior tree. So that's what we're going to start, is the behavior tree from this bot. So next thing we're going to have to do, we're going to do a few things in search for enemy. So basically search for enemy, what we're actually attempting to do here, we're getting the bot's location, your current bot you are controlling, and we're going to actually kind of subtract it from the location where the actual character is, which is the bot's enemy. And then we're going to actually check it if it's less than the actual variable they're going to type in here real quick. So what we're going to say a pawn my bot, which is us, well, us being the enemy AI, equals get pawn. So we're just making that pawn variable just be getting the pawn, which is us. And if my bot does not equal null, and we're going to return it. Actually, not equal null. We're going to, what am I saying that for? If it equals null, return it, of course. So then, we're going to make a constant f vector, and we're going to make it myloc, which is this location equals my bot point to get actor location. Then we're going to do a float. We're going to make a best dist square, which equals max underscore FLT. Now, max FLT is kind of really hard to describe for me to really say. It's kind of like a really, really huge number, I would say. But you don't even have to use max float if you don't want to. You could use like a 10,000 or 100,000, but I think the best way to save memory, I think, is use max_FLT, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. So just use max FLT for this sort of situation as we're trying to type this out. So we're going to say A. We're going to need the character. We're going to say A tutorial. Actually, we did forget one thing before we do this. We're going to need to include it. So we're going to need the include tutorial charge character .h. Now we should be able to get the variable. That's considered to be an object, a tutorial charge character. We're going to make it be a pointer. Best pawn, we're going to make it equal null. Think of this as a temporary variable. We're making it empty for now until we make this for loop happen. So we're going to say for f const pawn iterator. And make it equal it equals get world. We're going to check if the get pawn iterator. And then it. If I could type it, there we go. And plus it. And we're going to say a tutorial charge character. We're going to make another local variable called test pawn. That's going to equal cast. We're going to cast it. We're going to get the same variable we want from here, which is a tutorial charge character. And we're going to make it equal it, but we also need that pointer in there to make it work. So if test pawn, basically what we're saying, if test pawn is in this for loop, when we look for the pawn iterator, if it equals this, we're going to do this. We're going to say constant float dist square equals f vector dist. Basically what dist does, it gets the distance between two vectors. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to get test pawn, and we're going to get actor location. And also we're going to get mylock, which is this actual AI's location. And we're going to say one more parameter. We're going to say if dist square is less than best dist square. Remember best dist square. Think of it as a really big number. A really big number. And we can pull it down here. We're going to say best dist square equals dist square. Basically, we're reassigning it to be that equal length from each other every time it actually calls search for enemy. And then best pawn equals test pawn. Whew, so quite a bit of a mouthful here. So, and also keep in mind, what I did to actually get these is actually, if you remember the template, actually I'll just show you. Remember the shooter game tutorial here? Not tutorial, but the actual preview? I looked at some of the code to actually kind of get an idea of how it kind of works. So if you really want to get even more in depth how this AI works, I'd recommend taking a look at this project and really getting a good insight of how to do this as well. But I want to actually, in this tutorial, I want to show you guys like a simple basic AI just to get things running, to make things work, and actually be able to, have fun with it. So now we're going to say if best pawn, be sure it's outside of the for loop. We're going to say set enemy. And of course, we're going to say best pawn. Now, since we got this all set up, we can now move on to, you guessed it, set enemy. So now I'm going to say if blackboard comp, just for a check, just make sure if it actually exists. No, not that's what. No, that's the wrong one. My bad. Blackboard comp. We don't have to, actually, nah, I don't think we'll do the check for it. We'll do blackboard comp set value as object. If I could type right, E as object. And of course, you remember the, let me get the thing pulled up. If you remember this here, the uint8, the key ID, it needs a uint8 parameter, which is what we have for these. But this one here is the object one we want. we're going to say enemy key ID and comma, and it needs the object. So we're going to say in pawn. Because we transferred this variable to here to equal to here, so we can actually use what we calculated and search enemy. If we found it, we could actually call this actual function called setEnemy to be working within our Blackboard component. It might be a little bit right now, but you'll see here in a bit how it kind of works out. So we're going to do one more thing. We're going to say Blackboard comp, because we can't forget the location vector we have. Set value as vector. And of course the enemy location ID in pawn, but it needs the vector. So we're going to say in pawn, sorry I got the mouse in the way, point to get actor location. And as simple as that, we just got it done. So most of the work for the AI is basically done. Most of it. So let's double check, make sure everything is up to where we want it. It looks pretty good. I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead. Oops, pull this down here. Go ahead and compile it and see what we got. Make sure it actually all compiles correctly. Ooh, it's taking a little bit to compile. It's got a lot of code to compile. Let's see. I might have it go black here in a sec if it doesn't compile. Alright, so it's taking a little bit, so I'm going to have it go black here a second and we'll come back here shortly. Alright, so we're back. It said compile failed, so let's take a look, see what happened here quick. So I need to maximize it here a little more. Cannot convert one overload. So it's saying where we have the F vector dist. So we gotta go to the controller. Hang on a second. Tutorial controller.cpp. Yep, we got everything right. Alright, so let's go here. It said line 50, if I'm right? Line 50, yes. Okay. So let's take a look at line 50, see what it's complaining about. And it's complaining about the... Let's take a look here quick. Oh, I know what I forgot. No, I don't want Photoshop. Get away. Okay, there we go. I forgot one tiny thing. Parentheses. And that should fix that problem. Go ahead and recompile it. It should be good to go. There we go. Alright, compile. It may want to restart the editor, but I don't think it should, because we got everything else set up in the .h file. Both of them. Alright, good deal. So now, let's go ahead, double check a few things quick. So let's go to enemy bot quick, double check a few things. Let's go ahead, go down to the bottom here quick. Should be underneath here. If not, I gotta type it out. AI. I'm going to look up behavior, because we have a behavior. Now I got to set the bot behavior equal enemy brain. So we'll save that out. Just a quick check to make sure everything is alright with that. So we'll go ahead and exit out. Now let's go ahead and go to enemy brain. Now this is where we're going to have to input one little tiny little blueprint quick. We're going to have to make a new blueprint, and we're going to derive it from, we're going to type BT. We're going to make it a service. Blueprint service. Select it, and we're going to name it. Where are we at? Rename. No, I don't want to create a copy. No. Okay. Rename. We're going to name it AI underscore follow. So let's go ahead. We're going to say, add an event quick. Make receive tick. And we're going to say, where are we at here? Going to get finish, no. Finish execute. going to have that laid out. We're going to cast from, get this checked in, cast to, of course, tutorial underscore controller. And once it's casted, you're going to, oops, hang on a second. That's not right. So we're going to do this, drag this from over here. We're going to get the function called search for enemy. As you remember, search for enemy is a U function in our header file. That's the only way here we're able to make it callable. So let's go back here, go back to AI follow, do this again. Search for enemy. And that should do everything as the way we want. And we should, just in case, we're going to add a finish execute. If it lets me have it. Finish execute. We're going to check the success so it keeps updating it. Compile, save. And now since we got that set up, we could go back to our behavior tree and we're going to add a service, which is what that blueprint we just made is a service for the behavior tree as BT underscore service. BT meaning behavior tree. And of course you see AI follow. So we're going to have it redo it every 0.5 seconds. But we're going to do move to. Okay, there's one thing to keep in mind before you continue on is to make sure when you select move to, make sure the Blackboard key is set to enemy. You can even set to destination if you really wanted to, but enemy usually works the best way to do it. I have destination there just for a check when you see down here for a check to see where the location is at. That's why I actually use destination. Now with move to, we have to have a navigation mesh. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a simple little navigation mesh here real quick. So let's go to all classes. We're going to find navigation mesh bounds value. Put it right here. Should build it. Let's see. We have to hit build real quick. Should be able to build all the paths. If not, I think I know what's going on. I probably have to have it show. So we're going to hit show. Here we are. Navigation. Alright, so we have this navigation mesh all set up. Let's go ahead and save out all of our stuff. Save selected, save the level. So let's go ahead and bring out the bot here. And go right to 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and play. Oh, nothing yet. Let's see here real quick. Let's double check a few things. So if this is happening, let's double check, look in here. Make sure we're having the same thing we're going. So we're going to hit simulate. So we should see that. It does not know the enemy yet. So we'll hit possess. So it should know who it is yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and do one last check. I think we're doing something really weird here. So owner after, let's say events. Yeah, that's not right. So, oh, no wonder why. That's why. I was like, that has to be right. There we go. That should work. Maybe. Okay, so we could get rid of this then. Compile. Save. Now it should work. Hit play. Come at me, bro. Oh! Okay, we're good. See? Now we got AI following on the navigation mesh that's around it. Kind of creepy, but yeah, it works. Now, if you didn't want to use a navigation mesh, there is an option that is called, follow directly toward. It'll completely ignore the navigation mesh and follow directly towards it. But yeah, that's how you do it. And if you have any questions, subscribe and like the videos, and I'll be making more. Thanks for watching.